Have you ever looked at a book or magazine and saw stunning photographs that you thought you could take yourself? And then the next time you were out with your friends or going hiking, you took out your smartphone, lined up the perfect shot, and then took it, but when you looked at it, it didn't look anything like you wanted it to. Well, taking a picture is much more than just pushing a button. As a student studying photography, I have taken and edited many photos, and I have also taken several courses in photography. So I wanted to explain to you not only how to take a picture, but the correct way to take a picture. I love taking pictures, and I think that they're a great way to express yourself. I want you guys to realize that photography is very rewarding and anybody can do it. So today I want to explain how to get started in taking pictures, the basic settings on a camera, and different areas you can go in with photography. The first step in getting started in photography is to find the right camera for you. The best type of camera to use is to take professional pictures is a DSLR camera. This stands for Digital Single Lens Reflect. This means that the camera uses mirrors to direct light from the lens into the viewfinder. The viewfinder is the area that you look through in the camera to see what you're looking at. Most people think that they need to pay thousands of dollars to get a good camera in order to take quality pictures. This is not true. Any DSLR camera will take quality pictures as long as the person taking the pictures understands what they are doing. An affordable DSLR camera costs anywhere from $400 to $600, which is way better than paying thousands of dollars. Nikon, Canon, and Sony are the three main DSLR camera companies. I've heard positive reviews on all three of these companies, so choosing which one is just more of a personal preference. The camera that I have is the Canon Rebel T5 1200. The reason I bought this camera is because it was affordable, there were a lot of positive reviews on it, and I actually got it in a bundle on Amazon with other camera equipment, which was pretty nice. The next step into taking photography is to understand the functions on the camera. David Duchemin, the author of the Visual Toolbox, 60 Lessons for Stronger Photographs, published in 2015, started off by saying, I want you to put your camera in manual mode and leave it there. Having your camera in manual mode is the first step into understanding how to take pictures. On a DSLR camera, there are several automatic functions, 3 semi-manual functions, and 1 manual mode. The automatic functions, the camera chooses what settings they feel like would make the picture come out the best. The semi-manual mode, you choose 1 setting or 2 and the camera chooses the other one that it feels like it would make the best shot too. In the manual mode, you do everything by yourself. For this speech, I'm going to just stick to talking about manual mode because it is the best way to get started. You will start learning more about the settings and how they work. The 3 main settings are ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. ISO is the camera sensitivity to light. This means that the higher the ISO, the more sensitive the camera is to the light. Next is aperture. Aperture is the amount of light that the lens lets through. According to the photography workshop video published on October 28, 2015 by the SLR Lounge, the aperture is the pupil of the lens. The wider the aperture, what he means by this is there is an opening at the lens that can be adjusted. The wider the aperture, the more light that is let in. The smaller the aperture, the less light that is let in, such as a pupil. Finally, there's shutter speed. Shutter speed controls the duration that the light reaches the sensor, which means this is how the camera stays open for a certain amount of time that lets light in. The longer the shutter speed, the brighter your pictures will turn out. Aperture and shutter speed are the 2 main functions that help control exposure. Exposure is how dark or how bright your picture turns out. The best way to master which settings to use is to just mess around with them. To create the best exposure, you're just going to use the ISO, the shutter speed, the aperture, and just put them into different settings and see which ways they come out, which ways the picture looks. This is how I figured it out and how I started to understand. After this starts making sense and you get the pictures that you want, the next step is to edit. A popular editing software is Adobe Lightroom. The final step is to figure out which photography field you prefer. The nice thing about photography is that there are plenty of areas of emphasis to choose from, and I'm going to talk about a few. One emphasis is taking pictures of people. There are so many different types of people and so many ways to take pictures of them. Some people like to take pictures of headshots for people who might want to go into the acting industry or just have a professional photo. Other people like to take pictures at weddings. In order to get a good photo of someone, you have to have a variety of poses, a variety of backgrounds, and soft light, but this is just some of the stuff. Another emphasis is animals. There are house pets or wildlife. When you take pictures of house pets, just have fun with it. Make sure that you can do different poses, such as a dog running towards you, and when you do the exposure, make sure it's the correct with the color of the fur. You don't want it too dark or too light. But when you take wildlife pictures, it is a little bit more complicated. It's harder to get a good shot. Most photographers actually have to track the migration patterns of the animals and go outside and camp until they can get a good shot. Whether you decide to take pictures professionally or just for a hobby, there are plenty of areas to choose from. I have now covered the basics of how to get started in photography. Remember to get an affordable DSLR camera and keep it in manual mode. The three main functions are aperture, which controls how much light is in, shutter speed, which controls how long the light can get into the lens, and ISO, which is how sensitive the light is to the camera. Shutter speed and aperture are the main functions to control exposure or how light and dark a picture is. There are also many areas of emphasis, such as taking pictures of animals or people. Starting out taking pictures might seem overwhelming, but just keep up with it and practice. I promise that in the end, it will feel so rewarding. Thank you for your time.